Hi there, how's everyone doing? So I'm just going to make this quick video, and I'm sorry about the background. It's just me in my car because it's pouring down outside. It's been sunny for the last few days, but now it's it's just terrible. So do you know what? I just thought I'll go in my car. I'm on my way to some visits and I'll just make this quick video because it's something that I've been thinking about lately, and that's about the cycle of lending. There are a number of people I know, and I've also probably been in that cycle myself at some point in my life, where you were just in this continuous stream of lending money, then paying it back, then lending it again, half paying it back. In my last video recently, I was talking about payday loans and just how I got into a habit of just taking out payday loans. But I want to talk about the cycle of lending, and I've got my little diagram here just to discuss it. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I want to make this page informative for people, and there might be videos or articles that you're looking at and you're thinking that was me, or I want to do something about this, or I want a solution. And that's what it's about. It's about sharing information. I share information based on the knowledge I've learned through reading books about money, watching videos, listening to experts on money, working on my own finances, my own past bad experiences with money. It's a journey. The same way personal development, when you're working on yourself, is a journey. Financial development is just as important. It changes your whole life, the way you change when you think about money. So the cycle of lending, the first step is when someone runs out of money. So at that point where you run out of money, depending on your history, your experiences, your mindset, your situation, what you need the money for, you normally will go to step 2, which is you'll go to, I've put your usual lenders. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people who, if borrowing has been a thing that you do on a regular basis, you will have in your mind a host of people that you usually go to. Now that could be your sister, friends, mother, people go to their parents, or you'll have a list of outside of the family and friends. You'll have loan people that you constantly go to. Now what that is doing is straight away your brain and your philosophy and behaviour is saying, right, I've run out of money, what can I do? Right, I'll go to this person, or I'll go to this lender because they'll always give to me. It's an automatic thing that you do. You don't even have to think about it. It's like, right, I've got no money for food, I've got no money for electric, I've got no money to pay the bill this month. Right, I'm going to this person. It's not, for some people, it's not even that they'll sit down and look at a second option. They're already in that cycle where they're thinking, right, who can I go to? The next step in the cycle is you then pay either part of the loan back or half or full. The difficult thing is, if you are already struggling financially, it's a point where you've run out of money in the first place for basics. So let's talk about the fact, not the people, everyone owes some sort of debt for something. I think we all do. You know, if you've got a mortgage, you owe some money for your house. If you've got a car finance, if you've got this, you got that. I don't think you can completely live debt-free. You can, but I think it takes time. And I think you can, even if you have small debts, but you're still in a position where you can pay them off. So you might have a credit card, but you pay it off every month. I personally think you don't need one, but still. But if you are, if you can't afford to pay that loan back in full, and especially if you've got more than one, because a lot of people have multiple loans, then you're going to pay it back pay it back. Now, the difficult thing with that is, one, that company's got you then, them creditors, because they know that they're going to add interest on because you haven't stuck to your bargain, you haven't paid it off in full. If you do pay it off in full, you get that temporary high if you're someone that's struggling with money, where it's, yes, I've paid it off, but it doesn't last, because then all you think is, I've paid it off, so that means I've got good credit next time. Whereas if you're thinking logically, you'd think, I've paid that off and then I'm going to rip that loan book up or whatever, and I'm never going to go back to that creditor. But that's not how it works, because it's psychological. You know, borrowing, continuous borrowing in the cycle of lending is psychological. It's not just, physical. So the next step is you run out of money again. So when you run out of money the second time, or third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, you're then a crucial point there, because that's where you can break the cycle. You can break the cycle really at either point, but these are the 2 points. When you run out of money the first time, or when you've run out of money the second time. And the reason for that is because breaking the cycle means that you then don't automatically go to, who am I going to go to borrow money? You're going to say, I've run out of money this time. Let me sit down and think about this. I need money for A, B, C. How else can I get money right now? Or do I really need that thing right now? Am I going to borrow money for it? Or shall I just say, I'm going to have to go cold turkey or whatever, not have that thing that I really want because it's my fault really, that I borrowed. I had an opportunity I paid the money back, and now I'm in this same situation again. You have to give yourself tough talking, and it doesn't mean you're being hard on yourself or judging yourself, but you have to say, look, how many times have I borrowed from this lender? This is my 7th time I've borrowed. Now I've paid them back. Why am I going back to them again? You have to tell yourself off. Doesn't matter how many other people say to you, why are you still borrowing from that same person? You need to say it to yourself. So when you're at that point, you can try and break the cycle by saying, okay, there's times, right, when I was struggling, where I've had to sell some of my books. I've sold some of my student books to get money. I've sold some of my ornaments that were like, not valuable because they're just ornaments, but they were like carvings I've sold and all this. Now, I know for a fact when I was selling them, I wasn't feeling bad because I felt like that person's going to get something from them. And I know I'm going to be back on my feet eventually and I can buy them back. I never at one point thought, oh, I'm down in the dumps and I'm selling my stuff, because I know I can easily buy things back because I knew I was going to climb back up. And that's how you have to think. You can't, if you keep going back to these lenders, all you're doing is they're laughing at you because they're saying, oh, she's back in again. Oh, she's borrowing more from me. They treat it as a game. You're coming back to them again. Oh, now we're getting more money off. And they're taking all your money off you. And then when your pockets are empty, you know, they're not going to be the ones that are going to be comforting you. So you have to think, break the cycle, because otherwise you'll go to use your lenders. This is what happens when you use your lenders, say no. So you've all your family now have had enough of you borrowing from them. You use your lenders, you've gone over your credit limit with them. They can't borrow to you anymore. You haven't paid them back. So then this is when you get really desperate and you go to new lenders. So you go from your usual lenders who say no. You find new lenders who are more expensive and will be charging higher interest. Now, this is when you really have to think about your debt problems, and this is when it can escalate and get out of control. So if you go to these companies that borrow money against your car, I've been to 2 of them in my life. They're excessive with their interest payments, plus also they own your car and so they take your logbook until you've paid off that loan. So you're in more debt anyway, but then you're also having to stress about the fact that they could take your car if you don't pay them back. And I think when you go online, you'll find lots of lenders who are willing to borrow to people who've got bad credit. They're willing to borrow to people who don't really have much of an income. They don't care what your circumstances are, because what they're saying in their head is, if you don't pay them, we're going to take it to the level where you've got to pay us. So what I want people to think about is try to break this cycle. And what you're going to try and do is try and do it at the point where when you run out of money. So what you can start doing, 2 things you can start doing from now, and that is start thinking about what your response is going to be. Put a plan of action in place for if you run out of money, what's my response, what's my plan. Now, one thing you can do is set up an emergency fund, which I've talked about savings things. I've done videos on savings, so that you've got that emergency fund, so that at least you know you've got some money to like dip into when you go run out of money. The second thing is start to think about changing your brain, reprogramming it, so that when you're out of money, you don't go into panic mode and say, right, I've got to go to my lenders, right, I've got to find money from somewhere, because you become like an addict then. Cycle of money, borrowing money, you can do a cycle of anything: cycle of abuse, cycle of addiction, cycle of eating addictions, alcohol addiction. It's all based on panic, stress, fear, and automatic responses. So when you run out of money, instead of just quickly going, I've got to borrow, I've got to get money, I've got to get it from here, I've got to phone this person, got to phone this one, got to go online, got to search for a lender. Stop doing all of that. Breathe, stop and say, right, I've run out of money. What are some of my other options besides borrowing? And just see what comes up, because there's loads of options. You know, sometimes there's loads of options, you just haven't thought of them. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. as always, I'd love to hear your comments, and thank you everyone for liking this page. Please feel free to post any questions, money questions. I'd be happy to answer. I'd be happy to do videos as well on specific topics, and you can message me as well. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. Bye.